Why a $1,400 stimulus check is actually way better than a $200 per month raise to benefits including Social Security, retirement, disability, SSDI, survivors, SSI, and VA benefits. Let's get into it and talk about why one is way better than the other. But quickly before we do, thanks so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, welcome, and please make sure to hit the subscribe button right down below the video, as I'm back for you each and every day, bringing you all the latest updates hot off the wire as they're being released and talking about other very important topics just like what we're going to cover right here in this video. So thanks again for your support. I really do appreciate it. Subscribe down below and I promise you I'll be here for you every single day to help out in any way that I can. All right, so let's talk through these big headline topics that we've seen quite a bit as of late and as of last year. So if you've been watching my videos for any length of time now, you probably know about both of these topics that we're discussing in this video. The $1,400 stimulus check that recently hit the wire as about a month ago, and we've been seeing a lot of really good updates on this as of recently, and the $200 per month raise to tens of millions of beneficiaries that was originally introduced way back in March of 2020, and I continue to see it down in the comments section quite a bit. In fact, I see it probably at least once or twice every single day down in the comments section, and I do my best to read through all the comments, but of course, with the volume of comments that I get every day, there's just no way that I can see all of them. By the way, I get between about 5,000 and 7,000 comments every single day across my channel. It's a lot of comments, so thank you so much for leaving them. I really appreciate it. I really enjoy reading through them. However, I want to talk about the differences between this $1,400 stimulus check that is recently being pushed in Congress right now and this $200 per month raise that so many of you have reached out to me asking, are we getting it? Is it going to be happening? If so, when? And that's all I really want right now is just a $200 raise. Now I get it. A $200 raise would be really awesome for so many people right now. However, let's look at the differences between this $1,400 check that's recently being pushed right now in Congress and the $200. And I have to say, the $1,400, depending on the time horizon, would actually be significantly superior to a $200 per month raise benefit. Now, one thing we have to say before we get into this, it all comes down to the time horizon. Now remember, originally way back in March of 2020, when that small handful of Democratic senators came out with the initial introduction of this $200 per month raise, it was through the rest of the year. So it was a temporary raise, remember that? Now remember, it never got implemented, but their initial proposal was a temporary raise. Now, if we're talking about a temporary raise of the $200 benefit, well then yes, the $1,400 would be significantly superior. However, if we're talking about a $200 permanent raise, well then obviously over long periods of time, the $200 would be way better. But we have to go into this with the assumption of a short-term raise of the $200. Now again, we've talked about this many times in previous videos. We can talk about it later again, but I just want to compare the two because I've seen it down in the comment section. Many people just saying, hey, forget about the stimulus check. I just want the $200. I agree. The $200 would be really nice, but let's look at it from a different perspective. And I think you're going to see really quickly here why $1,400 one time would actually be way better. All right, so let's talk through this. And there's a variety of different reasons why. First off, well, okay, let's just talk through this. I was going to get ahead of myself for a second. All right, let's just talk through these points one at a time. A $1,400 stimulus check, even though it may be a one-time payment, this right now probably has the most traction behind probably all of the different proposals and ideas out there right now. In fact, this has a ton of support, not only from many of us right here on the channel, but many other people who probably haven't discovered the channel yet. And of course, it has the endorsement from the very big, powerful, influential advocacy group, the Senior Citizens League. Now, they're the one who has this petition that originally opened up right after Labor Day in early September, and they just introduced it to Congress last week, basically saying, hey, Congress, check it out. We've gathered all of these signatures in a month's time from all of these seniors, people with disabilities, and basically everybody that kind of follows them, and people that we've been talking about and that we advocate for right here on the channel, that have come out, signed this petition, and now the Senior Citizens League has presented it to Congress saying, hey, Congress, check it out. Look at this. Look at all of these signatures and all of these people who need this $1,400 stimulus check. It's a one-time payment, and we really need this payment immediately. Now, we have the endorsement from this big, powerful advocacy group. That's great. Of course, we're endorsing it as well right here on the channel for whatever that's worth, of course. For all of us that can endorse this and kind of get behind this movement, all the more people we can get behind this, the better, right? That just gives it more impact and influence going forward. But here's a couple other reasons why a stimulus check would actually be way better. First off, it would be a big lump sum payment that somebody would receive immediately, right away, all in one payment, versus $200 per month spread out over a longer period of time. If we look at this over a 12-month period of time, the $1,400 stimulus check would be exactly that, $1,400. However, if we look at the $200 per month over 12 months, that would be $2,400. Now, why would I say that $1,400 would actually be potentially better than $2,400? And here's why. The $1,400 stimulus check is exactly that, a stimulus check. It is not counted as income, it's not counted as resources, and it is not taxable. Therefore, it is the best of all the worlds. It is literally a $1,400 payment that you pretty much don't need to claim as income, it's not counted as resources that would offset other benefits, and it would not be taxable. All right, now let's look at the $200 per month raise on the other hand. Now here we would be looking at $2,400, right? $200 spread out over 12 months, $2,400. Now the difference with this is it would be counted as income, it would be counted as resources, and yes, it would be taxable. Therefore, if you combine all of these different reasons for why a $200 benefit would actually be inferior to a one-time $1,400 stimulus check, think about that. If it bumped your income up into a higher tax bracket, you'd have to pay taxes on all of that income, right? Well, that would significantly reduce that $200 raise. Now, it would also be counted as resources. Therefore, it could potentially offset any other benefits that you may be receiving. That would be worth quite a bit as well, right? And then yes, again, it would also be counted as income, it would be taxable, and it would also offset other resources. Therefore, all of it combined would probably reduce even more than what it would actually be giving you as a result of that $1,400 stimulus check. So even though you'd be getting essentially $1,000 more as a result of the $200 per month over a 12-month period, at the end of the day, when you kind of factor in everything that you'd potentially be paying in taxes on that, what you'd be losing as a result of resources being reduced, you know what I mean? And your income increasing, taxable income, things like this, end of the day, net, you would probably be less than $1,400 if all of that makes sense, right? So, not only that, a $1,400 stimulus check could be distributed pretty quickly. We know this for sure. We know that Congress could write up a very short piece of legislation. I mean, it'd literally be maybe one page, maybe a paragraph. It could be very, very simple what they write up as far as issuing a $1,400 stimulus check. They could get it out the door relatively quickly, and it wouldn't have to go through this long, lengthy process of getting a congressional approval across the board, of reforming the programs, and adding this $200 permanent or this temporary raise, all of these things like this. Literally, when it comes to a $1,400 stimulus check, they literally just write up the legislation and they could get it passed in very short period of time. They could get the checks out the door relatively quickly. They could get them direct deposited in a matter of just like a couple weeks from the time it's approved by Congress. It would be a very short period of time. If they just so wanted to get it done, they could get it done relatively quickly. Whereas if they actually issued this $200 per month raise, again, that'd take a very long time. There'd be a lot of kicking and screaming, there'd be a lot of back and forth, there'd be all kinds of discussions on this thing. It would take a very long time to actually get the approval on this. And then, after a short period of time, whether it's the end of the year or however long that they determined for this thing, all of a sudden, then those payments would end. Well, that wouldn't be a fun situation either, right? All of a sudden, we become dependent on this extra $200 per month, and then all of a sudden the payments stop. That would not be a good situation either, right? So, there's a variety of different reasons why an actual $1,400 stimulus check would actually be quite a bit superior to the $200 per month raise. Now again, we've talked about this $200 raise in previous videos. Here's my honest opinion on it. We originally saw this introduction way back in March of 2020. Here we are approaching the end of 2021, right? We're not that far away from the end of 2021. Where do we sit with this $200 raise? In my honest opinion, I've talked about this in other videos, I honestly do not think it's coming anymore. Here's why. It's been a year and a half. It's been, well, more than that. It's been more than a year and a half since the original introduction of this $200 per month temporary raise for all of these benefits. We haven't seen anything go on with this thing in probably, I don't know, 14 months or something like that. We probably haven't seen a single word being mentioned about this from anybody in Congress regarding this $200 raise in probably about 14 months. Therefore, I would say this $200 per month raise, is highly unlikely going to be happening. That's just my honest opinion. So again, please don't be upset with me about that. I've talked about that in detail in previous videos. I just want to give you the honest and accurate information and be totally true with you. I'm just saying, I'm not here to mislead anybody and say the $200 is coming. I'm not saying that at all. In fact, I don't think it's coming. That's why I'm leaning on a stimulus check. That's why I'm saying we'd be way more likely to get a $1,400 stimulus check or possibly even a $2,000 stimulus check way before we would actually see a $200 per month raise to benefits. But I did want to come back in this video and lay out the differences between why a $1,400 stimulus check would actually be way better than a $200 raise going forward for all of these benefits. Now I get it, don't get me wrong. I understand everybody needs more money. I totally understand that. That's why I'm saying we got to get this stimulus check approved and out to the people as quickly as possible. I totally understand that. But at the end of the day, it would be way easier, way faster, and at the end of all of the numbers and when you kind of run all the numbers and everything, you'd probably be ahead financially if you actually got a $1,400 stimulus check versus a $200 per month raise, even though it's $1,400 versus $2,400. If you kind of run all the calculations and figure it all out, you'd probably be right around the same number, possibly be even ahead a little bit when it comes to the stimulus check, if all that makes sense, right? So you've got to factor in everything when it comes to all this. This stimulus check is ultimately the best method because, like I said a minute ago, it's not taxable, it's not counted as resources, and it is not counted as income. Therefore, the best of all the worlds, right? Yeah, so it's literally just a payment from the government and you can just use it for whatever you want. Yeah, it's the best of all the worlds. So anyway, I hope this lays it out and discusses the differences between the $1,400 stimulus check and why it would actually be superior to a $200 per month raise, unless we're actually talking about a permanent raise of $200. Well, then over long periods of time, yes, then the $200 would actually be better, but we can't anticipate that because originally they introduced it as a temporary raise of $200 per month, right? That's how it was originally introduced. Anyway, hope this helps you out. Again, I hope it explains it. And for those of you who have been asking about the $200 per month raise, I hope this lays it out a little bit further and it kind of shows you why it's probably not going to be happening, but rather a $1,400 stimulus check is way more likely than the $200 unless it is reintroduced in a separate bill, right? So yeah, that's why you got to continue watching all this stuff very closely because things are changing very, very rapidly right now, but don't worry, you don't need to do it. That's why I'm here. I do all the research each and every day for you. I bring it all back to you in these short videos. So make sure to hit that subscribe button right down below the video. It's totally free and I'll continue to be here for you every single day with all of the latest updates and to help you out in any way that I can. Thanks again. I really appreciate it. Subscribe down below and I'll catch you again later.